let's go through how to capture monsters in Monster Hunter Wilds. The game does not require this of you until later in the game, but just in case you want to know, it's still pretty much the same as it was in the previous games and is not too difficult once you know what you're doing. To start with, we need some stuff. The most easiest thing for us to get first is some trap tools, and we need those so that we can start building some traps. You can see that we come to the provision stockpile guy here, and ideally you're probably going to end up putting these into your box. We're coming down to the trap tools, get as many as you like, and they are just going to be there until you are going to want to craft them. Next up, we need some materials. Easier for me to do this from the crafting menu, so if you guys want to take some screenshots or write this down, you'll be able to find this out much easier. So we're going to be crafting pitfall traps, which you can see we have the trap tools already, which requires nets, shock traps, which requires the thunderbug capacitor, and then the trank bomb, which requires sleep herb and parish room. Those are the only 3 items that we need. Realistically speaking, the only reason that we want both traps is because, as you can see in the bottom left there, we can actually only carry 1 of each of these on our person at one time, which means if you get something wrong or the trap fails, you'll have a backup. Realistically, they both do the same thing, so as long as you hit the monster with the trap, then drop 2 trank bombs on it, that is going to capture the monster. Now we do need to weaken the monster first, and we're going to go through how we find all of these materials easily right now. When it comes to finding any material in Monster Hunter, then the best thing that we can do is come onto the map, and you can see down at the bottom left there, if you're on PC, I'm sure you can just click on it, but if we press the D-pad, you can see that we have these filters. That's going to allow us to come on over to any item on the map. You can see here, I can go ahead and go to any of the items that I want. In this case, the Thunderbug is what's highlighted. That's actually what gives us one of the items that we need to be crafting the pitfall traps, because we harvest the Thunderbugs to get the Thunder capacitor, and all I need to do is select one of those. I can go ahead and highlight it, and now if I press up, that's going to take me to where I want to go. Almost everything can be found on the first map. The only thing that you can't find is spider webs for nets. Just bear that in mind. Again, the game doesn't really require this of you until later anyway, and the nets are actually in the Scarlet Forest where you can get the spider webs. So very early on, you could be crafting the traps, and all of the materials that you need for the trank bombs are in the first area as well. All you need to do is just make sure that you are selecting the things that you want, gathering the items, and then you can get everything crafted. If you are in high rank, you can actually do this automatically. I'll just briefly touch on this. If you haven't already, I will have a video linked at the end of this one so that you can unlock Natter here and have him be able to send out retrieval people for you so that you can have all of this coming in automatically. Once you're happy, you have your traps and your trank bombs equipped, it's time for us to go and fight against a monster. So we're going to head out. I'm going to find something just simple to weaken down, because I only really need to show a symbol and when you deploy the trap to guarantee the catch so that you guys know what you're doing. So let's just pick something nice and easy. I'm going to get into a fight. Once we arrive at a monster, what I want you to do is take a look at the minimap. And obviously we can see that we have icons over the monster on the minimap, and we need to keep an eye out for that. Unfortunately, the icon does not appear next to its little emoji down at the bottom, which would be preferable. But if you keep an eye on the minimap, that's the most reliable way to know whether or not it's going to be captured. There are other tells, and I can't really show them all on one monster, but if it starts limping away, the palico says it looks like it's almost there, or it runs off and goes to sleep. That usually, not always, usually means it's time to put the monster in a trap. But if it says any of those things, make sure you check the minimap first, as I'm going to show you something in a second. And what we are keeping an eye out for is that flashing skull you can see next to the monster's icon on the minimap. In fact, you can see that it's limping away here. And actually, if we follow this, it'll probably go to sleep. This is the point where we can put it into a trap. So I'm going to follow it right now. I'm going to make sure I've got my trap ready to go, so that once we reach wherever it is we're going, I'm going to drop a trap down. So as we can see in this instance, it has gone to sleep. Some creatures won't, but regardless, once that skull is up, we can put the trap down, move over to the tranks, drop 2 of these, and the hunt will be over. This is in no way essential, but it does allow us to shorten the fights, particularly some of the end game fights, which can be a little bit tougher, and that final phase can be much longer. So this can chop a good chunk off of your hunt time, speeding up your hunts in general.